to go to work on her. Hines Allen swings it around to Cunningham.
Becky Hammon said, before Sunday's game, that had it been a playoff game, Aja Wilson most likely would have played. She said that on camera before the opening tip. And then Indiana went out and won 84-68, their first ever regular season win in Las Vegas, in 12 previous attempts, by 16 points against the defending champions, that too without Caitlin Clark. And Hammon walked to the post-game podium and admitted maybe she should not have said what she said before the game. Indiana proved a point tonight. The scoreboard said 84-68. History said first time ever. And Hammon said maybe she should not have said that. All three of those things happened on the same night in Las Vegas. And none of them are going away anytime soon.
Billings leaves it for Mitchell. Good trail triple for Indy.
Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications right now, because what Indiana just did in Las Vegas without their franchise player is the loudest statement this team has made all season. And it gets bigger the more you understand what Hammon was actually saying before that game started. Here is the full context of her pre-game comment. A reporter asked Hammon about Wilson's ankle injury and whether she would play. Hammon said the Aces were trying to find ways to win basketball games. Normal coach answer, managing expectations. And then she went further. She said, had it been a playoff game, Wilson most likely would have played. That is not a throwaway line. That is a two-time championship coach publicly drawing a line between games that matter and games that do not. Between opponents worth full commitment and opponents that are not. Hammon looked at the Indiana Fever, a team coming off a week-long break, missing Clark on a 4-game road trip, and decided this was a lesser priority matchup. And Indiana heard every single word of that. This is not the first time Hammon has underestimated this team. After the 2025 playoffs, when Indiana pushed the Aces to 5 games in the semifinals without Clark and multiple other key players, Hammon went on a podcast and said Indiana was probably the hardest series she had ever been through. She said she was pissed after Game 5. She said she went back and watched the film and told Candace Parker that Indiana just played their ass off. That was Hammon after experiencing what this team is capable of firsthand. And on Sunday, she looked at that same team, minus Clark, but with Mitchell, Boston, Cunningham, Johnson, and Hull, and decided it was not worth Wilson's full health risk. The Fever had other plans. The first half was exactly what Hammon probably expected. Las Vegas led 24-23 after one quarter. Close game. Manageable. The Aces had the situation under control. And then Lexi Hull hit a jumper that beat the halftime buzzer, and Indiana went to the break with a 42-41 lead. 1 point, barely anything. But that shot landed differently than a normal mid-range jumper. It landed like a team that had not come to Las Vegas to keep it close. It landed like a team that had absorbed a pre-game message about not being taken seriously and decided the scoreboard was the only appropriate response. Then the third quarter started. And Indiana did not stop. Boston hit a 3. Cunningham hit a 3. Mitchell hit a 3. A 9-2 run that cracked the game completely open, and then Mitchell got fouled on a 3-point attempt and made all 3 free throws, came back down and completed a 3-point play. Raven Johnson hit a layup. Indiana led 64-51 with 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Hammon's team, the one she decided was not serious enough for Wilson's full commitment, was being taken apart piece by piece by the players Hammon had already decided were manageable. Indiana led 68-55 after 3 quarters. They did not look back. Kelsey Mitchell finished with 27 points and 10 of 12 from the free throw line. She had 17 at halftime. She made the threes in the decisive run. She drew fouls on critical possessions. She made every big shot when the game was being decided. Hammon admitted it at the podium. She said Mitchell was incredible, said they had no answer for her, said multiple people tried and she just kept making plays. And she said all of this about a player whose history in Las Vegas, going back to that 2025 playoff game where she dropped 34 points and Hammon said she had no answer then. Either should have been the first item on Sunday's scouting report. The player Hammon decided was part of a manageable opponent just gave her the worst loss of the season in her own building. Aaliyah Boston added 18 points and 10 rebounds. Her 6th double-double of the season. Indiana out-rebounded the defending champions 39-30 on their home floor. 7 turnovers in an entire road game against one of the most experienced defensive teams in the league. The Aces posted their lowest scoring total of the entire season, 68 points. Against the team, Hammon decided before tip-off was not worth Wilson at full health. And the number that sits above all of those stats, the one that defines what Sunday actually means, is 12. 12 previous regular season visits to Las Vegas without a single win. 0 for 11 before Sunday night. Then Indiana came in without Clark on a 4-game road trip against the defending champions and ended that streak by 16 points. That is not a minor upset. That is a franchise moment. And it happened because of the players Hammon decided were not worth a playoff-level commitment. Now here is the part that sits differently than any other win Indiana has had this season. Because this did not happen in a vacuum. This team has been through more in the last 3 months than most franchises deal with in an entire year. Alyssa Thomas put a fist to Clark's neck, and the official on the baseline did not call it. Clark left the game with a back injury. She sat out for more than a week. The arena was half empty when she did not play against the Sparks. Fans boycotted. Mainstream sports media ran pieces calling for Thomas's suspension. Dave Portnoy called the WNBA the worst marketed league in the history of leagues. Sophie Cunningham went on her podcast and said Clark is being targeted every single game, and the league does nothing. The Players' Union declined to comment on whether a fist to the throat is punishable. The organization issued 3 sentences when it happened. And through every single piece of that, through the boycott and the back injury and the organizational silence and the technical for clapping, this team kept playing basketball. Without Clark, they beat the Sparks. They came from behind to win, and on Sunday night, they walked into the building where they had never won in 12 previous attempts and beat the defending champions by 16. That is the team that has been built while all of this noise was happening around them. That is what Mitchell, Boston, Cunningham, Johnson, and Hull look like when they play with something to prove. And Hammon, who decided before Sunday's game that this opponent was not worth full commitment, walked to the podium and said maybe she should not have said what she said. That Indiana proved a point tonight, that they had no answer for Mitchell, that multiple people tried and she just kept making plays. Clark returned to practice this week. She and Wilson are both confirmed starters for the All-Star game on July 25th in Chicago, both expected back soon. And when Clark does come back, she is returning to a team that just made franchise history in Las Vegas without her. A team that went into the defending champions building on a 4-game road trip and won for the first time in 12 tries. A team that absorbed a pre-game dismissal from a championship-level coach and answered it with the most historic road win in franchise history. Becky Hammon said it was not serious enough for Wilson's full commitment. She said it before the game. She said, in hindsight, maybe she should not have said it after the game. Indiana said it on the scoreboard in between, 84-68. First time ever in Las Vegas, and Clark has not even come back yet. What do you think? Did Indiana send the right message in Las Vegas? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications because Clark's return is coming, and this Fever team is built different than anything we have seen from this franchise before. We will see you in the next one.